as well. Stocks leading the Dow lower this morning. Intel weakness carrying over from last week. You see it there indicated down 1.5%. Microsoft as well. The Nasdaq is up 11% so far in January, and Microsoft giving some of that back. Nike, Cisco, Merck also on the weaker side.
Meantime, it is considered the most powerful committee in the House of Representatives, dealing with taxes, health care, oversight, and so much more. Next guest is the youngest chairman since the Civil War, joining us right now on what is on that agenda for the Ways and Means Committee in this Congress. Representative Jason Smith from Missouri, good morning to you. Well, let's just start there. What do you think is on the list here, and what's possible realistically?
Good morning. It's great to be with you. The focus and our priorities in the Ways and Means Committee is to deliver for working class families, the American worker, small businesses, and farmers. And I think there's a lot of opportunity where we can work with Democrats in delivering for working class families. In tax reform, we can also address trade policies that can help strengthen our strategic supply chains. I think we have to use the tax code and trade policies to make sure that we are energy independent, food secure, and also medically secured when it comes to our strategic supply chains. We saw the issues during COVID. We need to fix that.
Debt ceiling, it's a coming, at least the debate about it. What's your position here, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, my position right now is what I like to see is Joe Biden meeting with Speaker McCarthy on Wednesday, and also Chuck Schumer coming to the table. We've been requesting for weeks now for Biden and the Democrats to come together and let us address this. Let's not wait until June. Let's take care of it right now. If you look since 1985, 8 of the biggest fiscal reforms were all tied to the debt limit increase. We are facing a debt crisis. The reason why we have the highest spike in 40 years, the inflation crisis, is because the more than $10 trillion of new spending over the last 2 years since we last increased the debt limit. We need to address the fiscal insanity. So now, instead of waiting till later, if we wait till later, we're just scheduling the next debt crisis.
Kayla?
Yeah, Chairman, I have a question about a comment that Jared Bernstein, who's the White House economist, made on the show earlier today. When we asked him if there was anything that the White House or Democrats could offer as an olive branch, he essentially called Republicans bluff and suggested that there wasn't enough agreement on exactly what your position is to successfully advance that position. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, that's exactly what's wrong with Washington. Don't be bluffing each other. We just need to sit down, figure out where the common ground is. We're in divided government. It's not going to be one party, one way or the other. We have to work together for all Americans. But first, you got to show up, and you got to have that meeting and have that conversation. Don't wait until June to try to play chicken. Let's take care of the job for the American people right now. Let's see what Joe Biden cares about. Let's see what the House Republicans care about. Let's see what Chuck Schumer cares about, and then find the middle ground. That's how you govern. That's how you should work.
That Medicare and Social Security would be exempted. Republican senators have suggested that cutting defense spending would be a non-starter. So where is there agreement when you look at the budget process to cut any of that excess as you see it?
Oh, as you know, we have a fairly large budget. There's numerous places. But as Speaker McCarthy said, we will not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare, even though President Biden continues, even as of last week, trying to scare people that that's what Republicans want to do. That's absolutely what Republicans will not do. We want our fiscal house to be in order. There's hundreds of billions of dollars of unspent COVID money that's still out there that is just lingering. We don't need that. We are no longer in a pandemic. There's hundreds of billions of dollars of wasteful spending in so many programs that do not cut the most important programs for our seniors.
Chairman Smith, if in fact there are members of your party who do decide to play chicken, will you call them out in the same way that you would the other party?
No one needs to play chicken when it comes to providing for America's economy. We need to make sure that America's economy is only only strong and continues to grow. You can't control 535 members of Congress. They're all independent warriors. They'll say whatever they want to say. But what we can control is House Republicans, House Democrats, and President Biden can come to the table and get a middle of the ground negotiation to help deliver for America.
While I have you here, we've been talking all morning about TikTok and potentially its national security threat or not as it relates to China. Where do you stand?
As one of the youngest members of Congress, I'm clearly not on TikTok. I feel like that's a great way for the Chinese to know everything about you. And we know that it's a serious threat to the United States. It's hard for me to understand why any member of Congress would be on TikTok themselves, let alone announce whenever they're running for office from TikTok. It's bizarre to me because our intelligence tells us that it's a great threat to our security here in the United States.
And you think it's a great threat, just so I'm clear, because you believe that they are mining the data currently because of the prospect or potential that they could, because they could use their influence to effectively influence others that are all, that use the platform, whether it comes to politics or other things. What is your particular concern? Because one of the things we've heard from TikTok is that they're trying to separate both the algorithm and the data into a cloud system, if you will, servers that are based right here in the United States, and whether you think that's viable.
You just said it. All of the above, we should be concerned. Our intelligence tells us we should be concerned. And that's why every American, that's why you see even governors across this country banning TikTok within their own state governments. They know it's a threat. It's something that we should not be playing around with. Let's take care of business.
And in the same way that we've been talking about sort of the game of chicken with the debt limit and other things, how do you see that playing itself out with maybe a game of chicken with U.S. businesses doing business in China, Chinese businesses doing business here in the U.S.? Obviously, there's a lot less of those, but we're going to be hearing from Starbucks this week, McDonald's. There's a lot of American businesses that do business in China, and what kind of repercussions you think they would face if, in fact, we were, the U.S. that is, to ban TikTok?
I'll tell you, the priorities of the House Ways and Means Committee is to protect the American worker, working families, small businesses, and farmers. Our focus is delivering for people who want to provide for Americans. American worker, families, farmers, small businesses. These huge corporations who have shed their American identity and become beholden to China, we need to look at their tax breaks. We need to look at the things and provisions where they have grown and where they have forsaken the American worker. Our priority in the House Ways and Means Committee will be providing for the American worker, the working class family, the small businesses, and the farmers. I hope these woke corporations will no longer be beholden to China.
Chairman, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. I'm actually going to send it back to Washington to Kayla.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Coming up, Starbucks, just one of the big companies set to report earnings this week. Up next, how the company is trying to get back to normal almost 3 years after the pandemic started. Plus, we'll talk more about this week's big Fed decision with former Fed Vice Chairman Roger Ferguson. A reminder, you can get the best of Squawk Box in our daily podcast. Follow Squawk Pod on your favorite podcast app and listen anytime. We'll be right back.